1st of August, Rabbi Furst, Pirkei Avos.
Good morning. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here. Shiva Salmanavshi. Shalom here. Zoom. This is our first year in the morning. We're learning Megillus Eicha in the third parak. We are in, if I'm not mistaken, the 9th verse. Third parak, verse number 9. Anyone would like to begin reading first? And again, when we're going through the Megillah, we're trying to be sensitive in terms of the tone and the perspective of Yirmiyah in his attitude towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu, his attitude towards Klal Yisrael, his attitude towards himself in terms of his unique experience of being the prophet. Okay.
I don't know how I did that.
Okay.
Good morning, Rabbi Furst.
Roy, good morning. How are you doing today?
Baruch Hashem.
Very good.
Everybody is well.
Yeah. Okay, as I said, we're in the we're in the third parak of Eicha, and I believe we're at the ninth verse.
Oh,
Can I read?
Yeah, unless anyone else would like to, you're welcome to read if you like.
Kedar derachai begazis nesivosai eva. He has walled my roads with stones. He has tangled my paths. Dove orev hu li ari be mistarim. Like a bear, he is lurking to me. A lion in hiding.
Right. So what is this? What's this supposed to mean exactly? Right. Rashi says, "Kadosh Baruch Hu nahafech li ledoiv oirev." Nahafech li. Kadosh Baruch Hu turned me into a lurking bear. Now, what's that supposed to mean?
well, here it's got a different take. He is to me like a bear lying in wait and like a lion in secret places.
So who's this referring to? Who's the he over here?
Yes.
Is that the enemy or is that a Kadosh Baruch Hu?
Isn't all of this talking about Hashem?
Right, right.
Yes.
So that sounds pretty. Is that not a criticism of a Kadosh Baruch Hu?
Yeah. The whole thing seems to be a criticism.
Alternatively, it could be because of my deeds, I've caused this to happen. You know, I think if you think of this as a lament, he's saying, Yirmiyahu is saying that because of what I have done, I have set myself up to be punished by Hashem.
So we have to think in terms of that. So we have to think: is this Yirmiyah speaking about his own personal punishments, or is he stating this on behalf of Klal Yisrael?
Maybe we should go back to the start of the sentence. But he has enclosed. But he has enclosed my ways with hewn stone. He has made my paths crooked. Whatever, whether this is the preferred one or what Lou translated, I don't know. But I think we should work that one out first.
Yeah, okay.
I think we need to go back to the beginning and work that out first.
Okay, well, okay, first, well, before we do all those things, Bez Hashem, first of all, on this particular pasuk, the Medrash Eicha Rabbah brings two different opinions. The Doiv is referring to, according to one Medrash, Eicha Rabbah, Nebuchadnezzar. That meaning that was Nebuchadnezzar referred to as the Doiv. And then the second Medrash is referring to the Doiv as being a Kadosh Baruch Hu. So you have both interpretations. Obviously, what the Navi is saying doesn't have to be taken in one particular interpretation. There are several interpretations which you can have and apply to the pasuk. And there's another Medrash says it's Malchus Pras. It's the Malchus Pras that the Persians. Now Nebuchadnezzar was from Babel. Malchus Pras was later on. They took over they conquered Nebuchadnezzar. They conquered Babel. So we went into the hands of the Parsoim, the Persians. Right. So again, if you want to go to at the very beginning, if you want to go back to the very beginning pasuk, right? Who's the he that's constantly being referred to in this parak here?
So it could be Nebuchadnezzar. It could be Hashem. I don't think it could be Yirmiyah, though.
No, he's not the one causing the difficulties, not the one that's causing the tsaras. I don't think so.
Well,
My assumption in reading it before was that it was Hashem.
yeah, this Sefer seems to do it as Hashem, because the things that he has done is more like what Hashem's doing. A mortal wouldn't do it. And as a matter of grammar, there's a comma and then a he with a capital H after it, which is only for Hashem.
Right.
So,
I have his with a capital H also. And I have a commentary that quotes Rashi that says that that Yirmiyah is lamenting that he saw more affliction than all the prophets.
That's right. Yeah, that we mentioned, right? Because he amongst all the prophets were prophesying about the Korban, but they didn't necessarily live through it. He prophesied about it and also lived through it. So he had the double distress of once having to prophesize about it, and secondly, actually to see his prophecy come true.
So it sounds like if he's lamenting that he has seen so much affliction, that sounds like he's not happy with Hashem.
Well, not necessarily he's not happy. The the actions of Hashem are a response to the actions of Yirmiyahu and the Jewish people. Hashem didn't start. He's responding to their actions and giving an appropriate punishment for them.
I don't think Yirmiyahu in his role as a frum Jew, as in the role as a Navi, could ever entertain the thought of that he's unhappy with what Hashem is doing. It's like sort of, I'm unhappy with what my friend is doing. He's mortal. I'm unhappy what he's doing, but I can't say I'm unhappy with what Hashem is doing, because whatever Hashem's doing is right. I'm unhappy that it has to happen, but that it did happen, that Hashem did it. I can't condone. I can't express that I'm unhappy with it. You have to be happy with whatever Hashem does.
It might be, as the Chofetz Chaim says, something very. Chofetz Chaim says, somebody says nothing is bad that happens from Hakadosh Baruch Hu. It might be bitter, but it's not bad. Nothing bad in it. It's bitter. Might be very difficult. Maybe be very distressful. But so. Let's continue on and see how this chapter continues on with yeah, let's see how this continues on. Let's see the next pasuk. That'll be here at the base, yeah.
Darach kashto v'yatzi veni ka matara lachetz. Okay, so he bent his bow and set me up as a target for the arrow.
Yep, that's right.
So again, I assume that he's talking about Hashem.
Apparently.
Because if he's talking about Nebuchadnezzar, then what is this? He set me up as a target. That sounds like something Hashem could do, not something that Nebuchadnezzar could do. Nebuchadnezzar could say he bent his bow and he aimed at me, but set me up as a target sounds more like exercising more control than Nebuchadnezzar, I think.
Let's see, 1 minute.
What's the arrow then supposed to do? Is it supposed to kill, or is it supposed to cause something else?
I imagine it's supposed to hit its mark.
Yes. Okay, but the arrow from Hashem is not an ordinary arrow.
Right.
So therefore it must have some purpose. The 13 says, he has caused the arrows of his quiver to enter into my reins. This is Pasuk 13. And I think that I'm just looking ahead a bit, perhaps, but that seems to me that the Hashem is stopping what Yirmiyahu is doing. The arrows have affected his range, his means of control. Yirmiyahu's means of control, his range. So the arrows, I think, might be to change Yirmiyahu.
I think, well, I think the rains are really referring to his his innards, meaning they found their mark in his into his body.
Yeah, my English says vitals,
Vitals.
into
Okay.
my vitals,
Mhm.
which I assume
Right.
implied like into my vital organs,
Right.
the organs that are essential, and that I'm either very seriously injured or dead if they get an arrow in them.
Right.
So if Hashem's going to kill Yirmiyahu, what's he going to do? Why is he doing that? Do it that way? Why doesn't he send a bolt from the sky, or cause him to fall into a deep hole or something, sort of like that? Why specifically arrows?
So
From this river.
I think now we might be able to say that as follows. See the prophet on one hand, he's obviously an individual unto himself. He's an individual. He's a human just like everybody else, but yet he's intimately bound to Klal Yisrael. Right? The fact that he's been chosen to be a prophet, his power of prophecy, his gift of prophecy, is supposed to be there for the benefit of Klal Yisrael. And part of the way he receives that gift is because he's bound himself to the Jewish people. So I think the way we have to try and understand these particular chapter, at least, is that he's speaking not only personally, because again, I don't think Jeremiah was ever struck by any arrows, right? He was not killed. He was not struck by arrows, right? Nevertheless, he's speaking in the prophecy here about such things, because he's speaking not only about his own personal situation, he's also speaking about the situation of Klal Yisrael, right? In Klal Yisrael, they definitely did in the many battles and wars which surrounded the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. There were many fallen and wounded, and many fell in battle. These many ways that we're describing here. So, so it's simply not a personal thing he's describing over here. He's describing the general situation of what the Jewish people were living through at the time, I think. Right? And,
If we read ahead to verse 14, and we consider 13 and 14 to be coupled, then it says to me that the shooting the arrow into my vitals is a metaphor for becoming the laughingstock of all the people. In other words, you could say, I could say to you, if you did something bad to me, I could say, you've hurt me, you've cut me to the quick, you've hurt me deeply. So he's saying, when the people were laughing at me and jibing me, it was like an arrow in my innards, an arrow in my vitals.
Yes, that's possible.
yeah, that could be a symbolic meaning of it as well. Right here. Good. Okay.
That deals nicely with your point that he didn't actually get shot with an arrow.
Right. Okay. Very good. Okay.
But that seems to be contradicting our thought that that he's speaking of himself as a representative of the people. We said yesterday or the day before that he's saying that, I and the Jewish people have seen this affliction, and Hashem has done this to us. But this is making a separation, saying it's just me.
Right. Well, I think that they're both true. I mean, there are obviously different levels of interpretation. I mean, there's one medrash here that says that this is Kach Amru Knesset Yisrael Derek Kashta V'Chitim Katorah. Knesset Yisrael, the Jewish people are saying this, meaning Yirmiyah is just being the focal point to express the general feelings of the Jewish people at the time, right? So it could be somewhat personal, it could be collective as well. I think it's reasonable to say that both understandings are equally true. Especially in light of this medrash, Amar Knesset Yisrael, the Jewish people were saying this. That was a statement made by the Jewish people.
The Jewish people are saying which part?
This pasuk of Yud Beis.
He bent his bow and set me up as a target for his arrow.
Yeah, this is a statement made by Klal Yisrael, right?
Ah.
So, I mean, Yirmiyah with his prophecy, he's simply saying and being the focal point for these statements of Klal Yisrael at the time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it definitely can be understood on different levels.
Right.
Okay, let's see the next passage.
Okay, so 14. Hayisi sochok lecho ami ne ginasam kol hayom. So I have become a laughing stock to all my people. The object of their jibes all day long. So if we're reading 13 or 12 as this statement of the people, I think we have to read 12 and 13 together and then make a break. Say up until then it's the Jewish people, but obviously now it's not the Jewish people because he's talking about what the Jewish people are doing to him.
This is because he's referring to people at this time, the call army.
Right. I think they're laughing at me and jibing me.
Yeah. Okay, good. Okay. Very good.
Okay, 15, Tetvav. His bi ani vam ro rim here vani laana. He filled me with bitterness and sated me with wormwood.
Oh, now this pasuk is there's a medrash which explains that this pasuk is a bridge between Tisha B'av and Pesach. That Haspieni Memoriam is referring to Moro. It's referring to the Moro that we eat on the night of Pesach. And it's referring to the fact that on Passover night we are obligated to eat more as a recollection ostensibly of the distresses and tribulations that we suffered at the hands of the Egyptians. And similarly, on Tisha B'Av, we make reference to being filled, haspeni, that's the word of Seveya. Seveya meaning he satiated me. I was satiated. Right? With what? I was satiated with mooring, with bitter herb. And so that doesn't occur except on the night of Pesach. No other night that you eat even a small amount of bitter herb. In general, people don't usually eat it, but on Pesach we eat it, and that's a reference to the bitterness of gullus that we're experiencing even now amongst our gullus that we're presently in. That it's a cause, because the reason that we're having and experiencing gullus and the bitterness of gullus in our own time is because of what occurred on Tisha B'Av. And there are further other explanations about the connection between Tisha B'Av and Pesach. As a matter of fact, it's even brought in Halacha. The night that Tisha B'Av falls out on is the same night that Pesach falls out on. You remember, right? This year, Tisha B'Av is scheduled to begin Motzei Shabbos, right? And do you remember, Pesach was also Motzei Shabbos, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Mm.
So it always comes out the same because of this is the pasuk which makes the connection between the night of Pesach and the night of Tisha B'Av. Yeah. Okay, let's that more perhaps what the connection is, but let's continue.
No, actually, Pesach was started on Friday night.
Right, because Tisha B'Av is really on Shabbos, but we can't have it on Shabbos, right? So we can't fast on Shabbos, so we have to really start the fast on Motzei Shabbos. But really, Tisha B'Av is on Shabbos.
Right, and so was Pesach.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Very good. Very good. Okay.
All right, so now we're up to I think let's see, Tet Zion.
Yes.
Vayagrem bechatzatz shinai hich pi yoshani bo'efer. Oh, these are hard words. He ground my teeth on gravel.
Right. Yeah.
He made me cower in ashes.
So what's this supposed to? What's this in reference to?
I would assume that ashes is a reference to death.
Well, destruction. I'm not sure about death. Destruction, definitely destruction. Whether it's actual death, not sure. The drush in here. Um, 1 second.
Well, we know that when Mordecai heard about the decree that King Ahasuerus made at the request of Haman, it says that he put ashes all over him, all over his head.
Right.
So I'm not sure why he did that. What does ashes have to do with anything? But obviously he was very sad, and he was expressing that sadness or anguish or whatever.
That's the form of mourning. He was in mourning over his knowledge of the decree. Right. So ashes are usually, that's their form of what before a chassan goes to the chuppah, we put ashes on his forehead where the tefillin rest. That's a zecher to the korban abayis. Right. To remember at the moment of his joy, to give a moment's consideration to the sorrow that we have, that we're still in exile and without the Beis Hamikdash. So the putting on the sackcloth and sitting in ashes is a form of mourning, of expressing, in the case of Mordecai, his distress over learning about the decree that was made upon Klal Yisrael.
Okay, so that's the connection to death.
Yeah.
I was at a wedding once where I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
To put the ashes on his forehead.
Yeah, it's done. That's the Jewish custom. It's usually it's universally done, as well. At least in the Orthodox circles. I'm not sure what the other. It's a reference the Medrashim learn that this is this pasuk is a reference to the korban of the Beis Hamikdash, korban of the Beis Hamikdash. Why it's mentioning teeth? Specifically, could be the Medrash explains that usually the teeth. Person has his teeth. He can enjoy his food to some extent. Person doesn't have teeth. It's very he has very little enjoyment from food. Doesn't have that benefit and taste delight of chewing his food. Okay? So this is a reference to the fact that it's actually connected to the previous pasuk about talking about the moror, the bitterness. It was filled with bitterness. That's not only was he was satisfied with that which is bitter, but now here, even in terms of the ability to enjoy regular food, even is being denied to him. And that's either in terms of Yirmiyah himself or the Klal Yisrael, the general public of the Jewish people. And crouched down in ashes is over the korban of the Beis Hamikdash. Okay. Continue on.
V'tiz nach mi shalom nafshi na shisi tova. I have despaired of peace, of having peace. My soul has despaired of having peace. I have forgotten goodness.
Mhm. So this sounds also either Klal Yisrael or Yirmiyahu or personally, or both. Could very well be both. Clear reference to what is it? Clear reference to here.
Is this a lack of bitachon?
I think it's just saying, telling us the facts, just stating the facts.
But this is more of a subjective. This seems to me like a more subjective statement than stating facts.
Yeah.
My soul despaired of having peace.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't seem to be a fact. That seems to be an expression of his opinion or his despair.
Right.
Saying I give up. There's no peace going to come to this. But if he has faith in Hashem, he should be saying, yeah, it's terrible. Everything is terrible, but Hashem, I still have to recognize that Hashem is here. Hashem is behind it all, and therefore something good is going to come of all this.
Well, let's put it this way. Chazal is explaining that I mean, to a certain degree, this is a reference to Torah. Shalom is a reference in many cases to Torah itself, and he's explaining that it's like they despaired from Torah. I mean, they sort of like gave up on Torah.
And I have forgotten goodness. How does that fit into the muscle?
So goodness, Torah is ain't Torah vela Torah. The Mishna is a pasuk. Ain't Torah vela Torah. Torah is ultimately good. Anything in this world is not ultimately good, but Torah is ultimately good, ultimately beneficial. So that's a reference to I've forgotten good name. And if they've forgotten Torah, the Jewish people have forgotten Torah. That's what one of the main criticisms, that had they only not forsaken the Torah, could have been a remedy to their situation. And since they even forgotten Torah, there was no other choice except destruction and exile. Let's just see. also, Toiv is also a reference to Eretz Israel, right? It's a reference to Torah. Torah is a reference to symbolic. The Shalom is reference to Torah, and also Tov is a reference to Eretz Israel, meaning they now were losing Torah, and they were also losing Eretz Israel.
Vayomar Avad Nitzchi Viso Chalti Me Hashem. I said, lost is my strength, and my expectation from Hashem. I'm not sure what that means. This is so how T. My English says my expectation.
1 second. Okay, Yoma Avid Nitzchi. And Nitzchi is how do they translate it by you, Lou, again?
They say gone is my strength, and I assume avad is the word for gone, like lost.
Right.
And nitzchi, they're saying means my strength.
So Nitzchi, I have my translation. Nitzchi is also is a reference to something which is eternal. So right, as Rashi says, Amarti Belibi, I said to myself, through the great amount of my tribulations, of it all in me, I've lost my world. I've lost my world, meaning he is lost through so many great tribulations he's going through. His world is lost. With that, and Nitzchi usually, as I mentioned, that's a reference usually to something which is eternal. That could be a reference to Olam Haba.
Okay, so instead of saying gone is my strength, it's saying I lost my eternity.
Right.
Meaning I lost my connection to Hashem.
Right, and that follows up the rest of the pasuk. It says, right, V'sochalti Hashem. I become my hope, my hoping in Hashem. Everyone lost my hope to Hashem.
Hope. Okay, that's a more that makes more sense. Hope. Yeah. So when you lose hope in Hashem, then you've lost your connection. So you've lost your eternity.
Right. Let's see. Maybe we'll stop here and go over time too much. So we're in Pasuk Yud Tes for tomorrow.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay.
I wonder if I wonder if we could maybe try and get more of a bird's eye view. I'm feeling like I'm kind of lost in the trees here.
Okay.
I'm not seeing the forest because it's just like one pussyk after another, bang, 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 hitting me on the head.
All right. We'll try and consolidate things tomorrow a bit, Mitzvah Shem.
Thank you.
Okay. Very good. Okay.
Bye.
Have a good afternoon. Hope to see you tomorrow.
Bye for now. Thank you.
Okay, Amen.
Very good. Hope to see you. See you soon.